Hello everyone, welcome to our presentation. The topic of our presentation today is about Japanese Zen Buddhism. Our group number is 文语度小南王、小冉孙 and 新夏. The research topic of our project is Japanese Zen culture. The roots of Zen Buddhism is from China, and what is known today as Zen has undergone many transformations over the ages. Zen Buddhism now has a strong influence on the development of Japanese culture, and it eventually became part of Japanese spiritual and artistic foundation. As figure shows, the Enso circle is a typical Zen symbol commonly comes to represent enlightenment, limitless strength, the universe, and tranquil. Our group aim is to help Japanese Zen culture spread better in Australia through design, by giving Zen culture elements to tea site and make the Australian people drink tea ceremony in another way, that is Japanese tea ceremony. This way will make their life more peaceful, healthy, and self-reflection, so as to promote the culture between Australia and Japanese communication. Our target audience is tea, meditation, tradition lovers. In our research, most of tea drinkers for women are about 60 to 42 men, and there is also interesting is that young female largely interested in tea for healthy reason, rather than for appreciation. Be healthy, be together are the main reason for them to become tea lovers. Japanese culture has high research value in art and spiritual thought, so it has become more and more popular in the world in recent years. We choose this topic to spread the Zen thought into Australia through the Japanese tea ceremony, so that Australians can drink about more life insights while experiencing multiculturalism. That's the end of my part. Let's welcome Xinxia to talk about next part.
I will talk about the research part of the Zen culture in Japan. As mentioned earlier in Project AIM, Japanese Zen culture is a process of epiphany. Simply and point out there are many forms of the Zen culture in Japan, among which tea is the most highlight that called tea ceremony. The first is the relationship between the tea ceremony and Japanese Zen. According to the occur, that's the main principles of the tea ceremony or harmony, respect, and tranquility. This is similar to Japanese Zen. Of course, the tea ceremony is also the values of wabi-sabi, which are deeply rooted in Zen. So that's why tea ceremony cannot be considered split from the Zen. Might point out that the Japanese tea ceremony, known as tea, is the kind of the Japanese culture activity in value of the preparation and introduction of the tea etiquette. This picture is a part of the core of the tea ceremony, which is a step of the how to drink tea. The general step are tea, heat the teapot, secure the cup, put the tea into the teapot, and then pour boiling the water into the teapot, then wash the tea, wash the cup, and spread the different teacups to offer the tea, smell the tea, and go to the enjoy tea for meditation. In this process, we can see the tea set is very important of the tea ceremony. Pouring rolled pot stand a set of the tea set include the teapots, teacups, pan, spoons, bladders, and tea bowl, and so on. This is objective. So let's move on the subjective. According to the Sublime, the cultural value and social significance of the Zen in Japan are firstly spiritual discipline. All Japanese art forms such as the tea ceremony, flower arrangement, and even materials, and lovely influenced by in the unique feeling of the Zen. These arts forms are transformed by Zen into the spiritual discipline for example, peace, simple, and self-development. The second is the Zen essence, including the golden mean, asymmetry, imperfect perfection, simple, and nature. The third is the harmony between the Zen and nature. Wilford points out that the art of the tea ceremony and tea wear ingenuity or wear respectively tea ceremony or spiritual process. In this process, participants are free from the secular world and seek harmony and inner peace. The focus of the tea set is study of the Japanese tea ceremony as a culture which offers elegant tea making tradition and positive energy to social manner wills. So this is Japanese research part of the Zen culture. Thank you.
I will continue giving the design response to our tea set development. So the first part is the idea explanation. As the research part mentioned that the performance of tea ceremony could largely show the friendship and respect to each other. With senses and touches in the texture and pattern will lead you to feel the depth of the spiritual world with calmness as well as the Zen's philosophy. There's a difference between Eastern and Western tea styles, such as the typical Eastern teacup without handle part. So we could leverage this difference to be a special attraction for Australian customers. Also, according to the report conducted by Butch in Minto Group, that there is a rise of functional tea blends and holistic health moves into focus. So there could be a trend for Australia to purchase tea-related products in the future. In the idea evolution part, we follow the principles of emotional design. For visceral design, consider the harmony of Zen and nature. We developed a color palette through extracting colors from nature, which allows people to better appreciate the natural connection between nature and human. We also designed the unique patterns according to the view of what is aesthetic. The messy pattern design can more deeply reflect the inner spirit of Zen. We extract the ink elements from the enso circle and match the random pen ink in our colors to make the products more visually resonant with Japanese Zen culture. We evaluate the functionality of the tea set for the behavior-related design. Firstly, because of the exquisite tea brewing technique, which is porcelain as an ideal texture for the tea set, which has a strong operability and ceramic fairing, and also has low heat transference compared to each other materials. As I referred for many Westerners, a teacup without handle might baffle them. In order to reach an easier acceptance, we have analyzed 3 kinds of tactile impressions for functional testing. Finally, combined with the Zen aesthetic and the behavioral function, we choose the uneven surface as the cup design. For the reflective part, the material selection reflects the usability and the sustainability of the design. By choosing bamboo and stainless steel for the reasons of sustainability and durability respectively, which is significant from the material casting in the initial production process to the product using in the end user's process. According to early in 2017, the aesthetic of Zen embodies simplicity, naturalness, and imperfection characteristic in pottery. We have designed unique product shapes, including asymmetric cup shapes, rough edges, etc., which enable users to more deeply experience the spiritual baptism of Zen during use. We also conducted the semiotic design to combine enso circle and tea leaves with green color. In this way, to illustrate the cultural meaning of our tea set and also improve our product recognition in the future. Next, Jaran will present the rest of the content. Thank you.
As mentioned before, we made the final design sketch. The tea sets we designed include a teapot, 2 teacups, a teaspoon, a tea whisk, a tea candy, and a tea tree. And imagine the story of people using our tea set. Mike is a tea lover. He wanted to buy a new tea set. He saw this Japanese tea set in a tea set shop and liked it very much, so he bought it. After returning home, he read some information about Japanese tea ceremony in order to learn to use this Japanese tea set. Then he started drinking tea in the way of Japanese ceremony. He found that drinking tea in this way allows him to experience the peace and comfort of life. This is the final model of each of the single products. And this is the final model of the entire tea set. As a summary, in this project, we chose to spread Japanese Zen culture through the design of tea sets, because tea ceremony is one of the most important expressions of Japanese Zen culture, and the sale of Japanese tea sets can give Australians the opportunity to contact and understand Japanese tea ceremony. Our purpose to spreading Japanese Zen culture is to promote cultural exchanges between Australia and Japan, so that Australians can experience the peace and beauty of life in the process of tasting tea. Of course, in this project, we not only hope to attract Australians who are interested in tea ceremony to experience Zen culture, but also hope to attract other groups of people in Australia, such as some young people, to experience the spiritual value brought by Zen culture. But by designing tea set, it may be a little bit difficult for us to attract some young Australians, which makes the spread of our project somewhat limited. Therefore, if the project needs to be developed, it needs to adopt other methods to expand the targeted audience so that other Australians can understand the Japanese Zen culture and its benefits. However, in early days of the introduction of Japanese Zen culture, choosing those who are interested in tea as targeted audience is a practical way. This is our reference list. Thanks for watching.